Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Jack Rivas and today I'm going to be talking about the kind of expenses that you can claim when you are self-employed. So it's been a little while since our last video, but we are back again, and as I said, today I'm going to be talking to you about the kind of expenses that you can claim as self-employed. So there's lots of different things that you can claim for, some of them being more obvious than others, and there's also quite a few different kind of allowances that you can claim for it as well, all of which I'm going to touch on today. But it's not going to be a full-on list of every single thing you can claim. It's just going to be a few categories, but if you do need any more help, then you can contact us or leave a comment below, and then we can help you out with anything that you do need. Starting off with your direct costs. So basically a direct cost is something that affects your sales, whether that is going to be materials. So if you're a builder, you are buying materials to build a house, for example, or if you are selling stock. So your stock would also be a direct cost because you need that stock to sell and to make money. So that is your first kind of category there, direct costs. So anything that affects your sales like directly, hence what's a direct cost. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to be talking about then is traveling. So traveling is something that you will definitely be able to claim for if you're self-employed and have to travel for work. And whether that is, say, driving to different construction sites, having to do different work, and also traveling to shows to sell your stock that you've bought, you will be able to claim for that. So if you're using a private car, then that would be claimed as a mileage expense. So that is claimed at 45p per mile for the first 10,000 miles, and then 25p thereafter for every mile. So you can't claim the actual fuel you're putting into your car because it has dual use on it. So it's got a personal use and business use. So that's why you'd normally go with that mileage claim. If you say have a works van though that you do own and that you're using solely for the business, then all the fuel that you are putting into that van is claimable. Also with traveling, so there may be some food costs. So if you're traveling somewhere that is different to your normal place of work and you're having to buy food on the way because it's not practical to be taking food or any of that kind of stuff, then there is an element of food costs and drinks that you will be able to buy. So entertaining stuff, that does come out, so that isn't included, and it's same with like alcoholic beverages, you can't claim them. But actually if you're traveling for work and you need to buy food, drink or anything like that, then you will be able to claim that. Next thing I'm going to be talking about then is software costs. Software is quite a big thing nowadays and lots of more people are using it, especially when it comes to accounts, which I am a big believer in, of using software for it, so in the cloud. So that is another expense that you will be able to claim. So with that, there could be if you're invoicing. So if you are using invoicing software or something like QuickBooks, then you will be able to claim those costs because you're using it for the business. And another example is software you need to be able to complete your job, whether that's CAD design software, Photoshop, video editing, all that kind of stuff. If you need to pay for that to be able to do your job, that is another expense that you will be able to claim. And it's the same as being with like Microsoft subscriptions or anything like that. So your Outlook, Word, any of those kind of software is another cost that you will be able to claim as self-employed. Moving on now on to subscription costs. So very similar to your software, but it's slightly different. So that could be, say, website costs and like domains for your email, all those things that you are subscribing to each month and having to pay for each month, you will be able to claim as long as they are business related. So as again, with your website, if you're paying a monthly subscription to a provider, then you will be able to claim that back as subscription or even potentially advertising in there as well. The next thing I'm going to touch on is rent. So a lot of self-employed now have lockups or an office or somewhere that they are renting for business purposes. So obviously that office or that area is for the business and for the business only. So you will be able to claim the full amount of rent that you are paying for that area. If you're not renting anywhere though, there is some allowances that I'm going to touch on in a little bit. Following on from the rent is insurance. So if you're renting somewhere, you may need to have buildings insurance, contents insurance, any of those kinds of insurance, and also other kind of insurance like public liability insurance, covering equipment, so any equipment you own. All of those kinds of insurances are also fully claimable as a self-employed person as long as it's insurance for work. And then if you have a van, also van insurance and all those kind of associated costs would be allowed as well. So this next area I'm going to look at is more of a broader area. I'm just going to go through quite a few things that you can also claim. One of those things being stationery and printing. So if you're having to buy pens, paper, printer ink, printers, all that kind of stuff is claimable if you are needing that for your business. If you're still printing off invoices or anything like that, then you can claim for all those expenses. Next kind of thing you can claim for is tools. So if you're a builder, you're having to buy lots of tools, drills, screwdrivers, hammers, all that kind of stuff is fully claimable as a business because you need them to be able to complete your job. Next thing that I've got on my list is accountancy fees. Obviously anything that you pay to us to do your accounts and your tax return is claimable because it is needed again for your job and it's a work expense. Next we've got telephone costs. So actually buying a mobile phone, having a landline, any of those kind of stuff you can claim for, and it's also the same for the actual phone contract itself. As long as it's in the business name, you can have that claimed for you. Next we're going to look at is repairs and maintenance. So repairs and maintenance could be anything that, say if you're renting somewhere, you're having to repair the building for any reason, get anything sorted in there, then those kind of expenses are also claimable. Talking about motor costs as well earlier with the van, if you buy a van, anything associated with having to repair that van, MOT services, anything like that is also fully claimable, again as long as that van is in the company's name. And then anything else really that you can think of that if you need it for your job and you need it to complete your work, you should be able to claim it. But obviously if there's anything you're unsure of, you can always ask us, because what I've just gone through does not cover everything, and there's a lot of stuff that somebody could potentially claim that somebody else couldn't because it's more specific to your job. As I mentioned earlier on, I'm going to now talk about allowances, and it's going to be the last thing that I'm going to be touching on today. There's 3 allowances that I'm going to talk about. The first one being the use of home allowance. So if you don't rent anywhere but you work out of your house, so you're storing all your equipment there, you've got a little office in there and you're doing all your paperwork there, anything like that, then you should be able to claim a use of home allowance. So the current use of home allowance is £312 in the UK for this current tax year, and that is probably going to be the same allowance for quite a few more tax years moving forwards. But yes, as I say, if you are working from home, then you will be able to claim that allowance. The next allowance is the uniform allowance. So if you've got branded uniforms, so you've got your logo on your top or anything like that, and you're having to wash it at home and all that kind of stuff, then there is an allowance that will cover that kind of thing. So it's different per industry, and I'm not going to go through that now, but I'll leave a link down below in the description which will take you to the area where you can find what your allowance would be. And then the last thing I'm going to mention is what's called the trading allowance. So if overall all of your expenses, they don't add up to more than £1,000, then you can actually just claim the trading allowance, which is £1,000. So then you're actually claiming expenses for £1,000, even though your expenses don't equal that much. But that is that allowance there that you can claim. So that is everything then that I'm going to be going over today. So as I said, that is not everything that you could potentially claim. That is just a good few categories of stuff that you could, and there could be more stuff that is more specific to you. So if you've got any questions about anything, then please do get in contact with us and we'll be able to help you out with your accounts and your tax return. But as always, if you could please share this with anybody that you think it may be useful for, and then like, subscribe as well, then that'd be fantastic. But if not, then I will see you in the next one. Cheers.